Hey everyone, Tim Higgins here. So we're going to talk about subsetting. Now we're going to look at our project. Oh, in the meantime, we're going to talk about PII as well. So how we can do PII with subsetting. What we're going to do is create a project. We're going to call this we'll call it travel. We use our travel table. I'm going to do this very quickly because I've done this in other videos. I do not want my data group. These are just groupings, right? So in a nutshell, I have a data set which has a set of pools. Now for versioning, I call it whatever I want, but we're going to call this one subsetting. Okay, and that's fine. I'm going to leave my publishing to default to the data target, but you can change it. No, sometimes I'll do CSV. I'm sorry, I got it. Sorry, message came through. But anyway, so with saying that, let me jump back onto this. This is work, by the way. That cool thing you spend your day doing. But with saying that, we're going to leave it to the data target. I'm going to talk very fast because I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. Yes, let's go ahead and create our data set and data pool. Oh, we didn't do that. Let's go ahead and create our data set and our data pool. That's easy enough. We're going to say subsetting data set. Now, I like to use my names in here so you can see in a little while I want to do that. Now, if I change it here, subsets, that means everything within this data set is a subset. But I don't want to do that. I may have different pools doing different things. So we're going to save and create pool. So now we're going to call this subsetting DB. Okay, now this one, I do want it to be a subset. Now we'll get to that shortly. So let's go ahead and save it and save. Now let's go ahead and register some of our data. So we're going to go down to register. Now this, I can register from anything. This is really cool. This is one of the strong points of this tool is, you do have a very options here. Apologize, again, work. That I can do delimited files. I can do from SOAP. Where did I say SOAP at? I can do SOAP messages. I can do XML. We're going to go ahead and stick with our database next. And I only want to do people at this moment. It will add the other ones when I need them. You'll see that happen. But we're going to go ahead and close, and we're going to go ahead and say register from data target. We can actually want to register from data source. Tables from data source. There we go. Yes. Well, never seen that before. Let's go ahead and crash. I think it was because we weren't connected to it. We were actually connected to our target. So let's try that again, just for sake of sanity. Yep. All right. So let's go back out. We're going to register. Fine. We'll register from our target. Doesn't matter. Actually, we probably do want to register from target because that's where we're working in. I apologize. That would be more common sense. So let's go ahead and go down to people and connect. Yes, we can look at that there. There's a lot of things we can do from this window, but right now we just want to register. We can tag some of these. We can do a count and tag, which one has data, which ones doesn't have data. But I'll do another video on that because there's a lot of things you can do just off of this. Now what we can do is close this because now we have our schema inside of our project. That's the only thing we really cared about. Now from here, I want to create my subset. There's quite a ways of doing that. You can hit your Windows key and type in GT subsetting, or you can go up here and open up the same thing. So we'll just do it from here since we're already here. So I went to subset and it's the first option. Now when this opens up, this is the subsetting tool. It may ask you to log in for the first time. Oh, sorry, it popped on the other window. Let me drag it over. Now it may ask you to log in for the first time. If it does, most of it's pretty common sense. Now I'm not going to jump through this too much, but this is a very powerful tool. There's so much you can do in this one tool, okay? I probably could do a video just on this tool by itself. But with saying that, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is, this is an option we're going to do later. I'll share that shortly. Right now, what we're looking at is our project, travel, our version, subsetting, our schema, which in 99% of the time with Microsoft SQL is going to be DBO. And my table, I want to do people. And people. Now, look how cool that is. It automatically mapped them for me, okay? So it automatically put the relationship together. Now, if I go here, I can say edit links. Come on. Oh. Edit link. Let's try that again. Oh, maybe it's because that appeared. Let me try it a little bit lower. Edit link. I would expect the link table to pop up. The little option. Well, oh, it did. I'm sorry. It's on the other monitor. There we go. I have to keep an eye on that. So this shows me the relationships. This uses what we call a crow feet relationship to connect them. I can modify these. I can do anything I want to at that point. Okay. I can even add. So if I think a link is there, but it's not showing me that case, let me drag it over from the other monitor. Then I can add a link to another table that isn't there. So let's say it's linked to cities. So I can do that. Now, the other thing I want to do is these reds. You want to get rid of the reds 90% of the time. Sometimes the reds think that this could be a primary table as well, and that could have problems with linking and also repetitives. So you can just right click and let's see, there's remove red relationships. There we go. That's what we want. Now, perfect. So what we want to do in our SQL, we're going to kind of play just for a second. We're going to say people, give me all people. I think there was something really strange about the people. Let's go back over here. We're going to go to, now I can pull this Microsoft SQL, but we're going to play TDM World and we're going to pull up our source. And here I want to look at people, and there's one that doesn't have an address. So we want to look at it. People, drag that over, run it, F5, run it. No, it won't. Click this button, it will. There is, unknown at this time. Okay. Kind of funny name, I know. Let's go back to subsetting, GT subsetter, subsetting, I don't know how you say that. Where address equals. All right, now let's see what this looks like. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to click that one. We'll talk about that one in a few minutes. It's really confusing because sometimes you really want to click the pretty big green button, but in this case you don't. You want to pick the word that says SQL, which you think would be on that side. But hey, it is what it is. So what this gave us was all the addresses where it says unknown at this time. The one thing that you missed is the top one does not say that. Oops, I cheated and went to SQL. But you notice this one doesn't say that. So if I say, give me where last name equals Gilhorn, I guess that's how you pronounce that. Let's go back to subsetting, go back to my SQL, and last name equals, I think it's last underscore name equals this. Okay, that should not be in my database if I typed it up correctly. Now, the cool thing about this, yep, see, it's not in there. Now, the cool thing about this is this screen is, you remember at the beginning when we created and it says, are you Oracle or SQL or mainframe, DB2, whatever? This language respects that. So if I'm working in Oracle, then this would be Oracle language. But since I'm working in SQL, it's SQL language. What I want to do, though, is kind of cool. I'm going to make this by doing the tilde, because this is going to give us what we want. And we're going to call it address. It's probably going to fail here, which is perfectly fine. Perfect. That's what I wanted. You're not going to see it, so let me drag it over. So what that does is that actually creates a variable. Now, I apologize if you can't really read the screen. I don't know why my UI is this bad, but it is. So we're going to say, give us all where, oh, I must have fat fingered it. So let's run it again. Oh, sorry. It didn't like the, let me drag it over. It doesn't like it because of the space. So let's do it again. And this time, let's make sure we have our little semicolons in there. And it's kind of like dancing with two left feet. I have to keep driving back for monitors. So let's see if I'm allowed to do this. If not, then we can't use that as a parameter just because of the space. Bam, that worked. All right, notice they're all this. Now what I want to do is stick that onto my developer's PowerPoint here, just so I don't lose it. Now, let's go ahead and put a single quotes around it, just so I don't have to do that again. All right, fair enough. So now we got our people, and this is the cool part. It actually respects all the other, come on, click, oh, sorry. It's on the other, since I have the query, it's going to know the query for all of these, and it actually respects the mapping, okay? So there we go. Now, and you can do that for all of these. What we want to do though now, because you're like, Tim, what do I do with this? This is cool. So I have this huge, massive amount of data in production, but all I really need is a set of people who have no addresses. So we've got that. Now, there's a couple things we can do. First thing we want to do is save this back to our project. So we're going to say save to repository. And of course, like everything else, it's on the other screen. So we're going to drag it over. really need like a trackball mouse or something. I'm going to keep doing this. So we're going to call this people extraction. Okay. And now here's what's cool. I got my project, my version. Now, if you remember, I did the underscore so you can see what they are. So this is project is travel, version subsetting, data set is subsetting DS, and my data pool, because we said that data pool was a subset, it automatically recognizes it here. So we're going to say save there. Done. That's simple. Oh, wait, don't need a description. Did it happen too quick and I said yes and we're done? Let's do it one more time because I would expect it to go away. And save. There we go. That's what I expected. I left out the description. So now we're saved in our repository. So if we go back over to GT Data Maker and we get rid of our cool Windows window here, our cool SQL window, go away. We refresh our project. We now see a subset. Now, what we, oh, no, I'm lying. Tim, stop being confusing. Now, there's our subsetting. Now, when we go back over here, all we got to do here, I'm going to show you something really cool. I showed you what this green button right here, no, I showed you what this does. I didn't show you what the green button does. What we're going to do is do a direct insert into SQL or an export import to SQL, export merge, or a scrambler export. What we're going to do, we're just going to dump it into SQL. All right, so we're going to drag this over. What's kind of weird though is if I do the recording on the other monitor, I still have the same issue. It's like it does not like the monitor that it's on. But what we did is we saved our extract to our project. Now what we're going to do is, let's say your DBAs want to run this. So we're going to call this people extract. Extract table data. I can say how many rows I want, how many percentage I want. I can create the table as a select. A lot of this is basic DBA stuff that you should kind of understand. Check for constraints, create merge script, so forth, so forth. What I'm going to do is jump to the next. Yes, I want my people table. So we're going to head and jump to this one. Now, if there's tables that are missing, I can bring those over. If there's tables that, so like here's our subset tables. If there's tables that are missing that I want to bring over, I can bring those over too. Now here I have my tags. Now I didn't talk about tags, but we could later. If I need to change the table order, don't really care about that right now. Now extracts, this is kind of cool. I can drop and create indexes, or I can enable drop foreign keys. I'm going to say just dropping recreate indexes. I can also get a row count if I want. Now I'm not sure. Oh, okay, we'll do that later. But yes, you can get I need travel and extract from profile, travel, and then I can run it. But I don't really want to do that right now. Well, you know what? I'm afraid it'd take a long time, is what I'm afraid of. So let's just go ahead and say generate, and we'll do that later. Okay, so what it's looking for, since we said we want to dump it into the target, it wants a target connection, which is what we have here. I'm going to say connect. Oh, did I break my? I did. For some reason I broke it. So let's travel E. There we go. And profile doesn't have a name. Travel. There we go. But okay, this is just for example anyway. So because we're not going to dump it in there. So I have it saved to a place on my desktop because that's where I told it to go last time. Let's drop this. We're going to look for our people. Give me 1 second to maneuver the mouse. Well, where did it go? I told it to go. Generate. The following script was created at users desktop people. People. Okay, so I would expect to see a people. Maybe I need to refresh on my desktop. Sometimes Windows isn't always refreshed. Let's go ahead and drop this. Okay, so sadly I stopped the video just so you all wouldn't see me look for that file, but that's a Windows thing. So if you look, people, desktop, the one thing I was going to show you is when you run this SQL thing, it creates a lot of extra files. The concept of these files is you can give this to your DBA and have them run it. So this is clean database. This is clean SQL. If you read this README, it tells it about it. So if I go into inserts, this is where it actually drops the indexes, create the indexes. Again, here's your README file. This is actually your SQL file. Let's see if we can open this up without opening up a lot of oddball stuff. So here's the SQL file that it creates for you. All right, so notice the inserts, yada, yada, yada. And what that does is this will insert this subset that you have into a database that you would run this file against. Now, so create, drop, so you get it, right? Pretty common sense. Now, what did we do? With the subsetting tool, again, there's a lot of stuff you can do. I can add tables, I can do multiple tables, but what we did was we select a query that we're going to pass a parameter to, okay? This parameter is going to be the address. That way your developers or whoever can pull up their subset. You're going to see it in a few seconds, and they're going to be able to type in whatever address they were looking for and get a subset of data based off of that query. So magically, we're done with this. Oh, well, a couple more things too. I just do want to show you this. This is really cool. I was bouncing back and forth from GT Data Maker. You don't have to. Oops, I didn't mean to click that button. My mouse is, let me click this one instead. And this is a really handy tool. What this will allow you to do, and as you can tell, you can have it in different windows, because you can have this at one window and work in the other. And if I go look in DBO, go down to people, it basically gives you a visual of the database. So I can see pretty much what we already knew, right? Our columns, but we can see our foreign keys, relationships, all that good stuff that drives this over here. Now let's go ahead and close that. And we're going to now close this because we're going back to GT Data Maker. Do you really want to exit? Well, yes, I do. I'll click the button. So now we're back over here, GT Data Maker. Now, this is only the extraction. This is not the data. Well, it kind of is, but it's not the data I want to work with. So we're going to click on our subset because I can have as many of these as I want. One thing you want to make sure you do, go to Settings, make sure User Data Creation Assistant is checked. I don't think that's checked by default. Make sure that's on, because then you get this cool little handy dandy window. Edit. I can say I will need a subset. It sees my subset. I'm going to pick it, and now we're going to create our data based off that subset. Now, it says you have not registered these other tables. I did that on purpose because we registered the people table, but now it says, hey, you got more tables you haven't registered. You sure you want to register these tables? Well, yes, I do. It just did it for me. Okay. So subset conditions, we're just going to use existing select. Next. These are rules. Now, I've talked about this in many other videos. If I go to code, you can see these are actual SQL list of values. And if you notice, it's actually pulling from the source. But we're going to leave it as this because this makes more sense to a human. And we're going to say, yes, that's fine. Now it says, wait a minute. You have more variables. What do you want to do with them? Well, I want to create them. So now let's go into the process of creating those. Now, it says the address does not exist. We need to create that variable. This is what level. This is kind of your source. Do you want a repository level, a project level, a data set? You know what? I'm going to go crazy, and I'm just going to make it at a project level. Now, it's called address. It's probably a bad name, but we're going to leave it as that anyway. And I'm going to leave the general. I don't want to, I'm going to make my default value. Nope, that's not in there anymore. The thing that we saw earlier, that one I have to type it in every time. Make sure it's new. Okay, fair enough. All right, we're good. So we can do resolve prior to publish. The variables are really neat and handy, but I'm not talking about them here. I can make a radio button check. There's a lot of stuff you can do. But we're going to hit save unless I need a description. Yep, I need a description. Oops. I don't think I care, but save. All right, so now we have a variable. Now, look how cool this is. This is all of our tables. Table, column, the definition, preview, mandatory, and data type, okay? Now, I can go over here and I can say, you know what? Now, I can go here. I see first name and last name right now, but I'm going to play this kind of cool. Do I have any Social Security columns? Well, yes, I do. Well, I can go work those, but I don't want to right now. Do I have email columns? Of course I do. There's people in there. Do I have address columns? You know what? I want name columns. Now, in a real world situation, you would work all these, right? That are PII, consider PII, sorry. In this case, I'm not going to work username. I'm just going to do first name and last name. Because sake of time, we're just going to do this quickly. Now, I do know for a fact I'm doing first name, so I'm going to say this, by the way, is the data painter. This is one of the magic, probably most useful tools that you'll find inside TDM. It is used everywhere, okay? Just keep that in mind because you're going to see it a lot. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, give me a seed list, and I'll show you a seed list in a few seconds. A seed list is a set of data that we provide for you that you can use as example data. Now, apologize about that. Had to take a drink of my coffee or water. Now, I can do a credit card. I can do all kind of cool stuff up in here. We're going to do first name. Go. I don't want any nulls because everybody's got a first name. I can test it. We're good. And I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to work the next PII data, which in this case is last name. So we're going to get rid of this. I'm going to do the same thing. Random list. Here we go. That rand love, as it looks like, is actually a random list of values. You can pull from a SQL. You can pull from anything you want. In this case, again, we can go from here. I'm going to go down to last. If I need my alphabet. Last names. No. I don't see it. Give me 1 second. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I was looking over it. Now, and we'll say 0 here. We'll give it a test. And then save. Now, what this really did, if you notice over here, I have other parameters. I have I can pull from other tables. I have videos like crazy, and I'll make even more because this is what you use for data generation. But for this case, I'm only using it for PII. Now, moving forward, what you would do is you would honestly go through every bit of that table structure that you saw just to work on your PII data. So if I go over here and look, the good news is I have everything that's inside of that subset right here, okay? So I'm not having to filter through the tables to figure out what I need to hide. For an example, credit card number. We saw that in there, right? It's a seed list. Now for seed list, I'll just show you that real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because that's not what the video is for. But if I click on that, I went to tools. I think it's maintain seed list. Yeah, right there it is. This is the list of seed lists. Now you can come in here and change these if you want. You can come in here. I don't recommend changing these, but if you have one that you want to create, like maybe it's type of airline or a type of guitar, or I don't know, just some noun, right? Then you can come in here and just create these. You can also upload them from an Excel spreadsheet, which is what I do most of the time with customers. But let's get back over here. Once I'm happy with this, see these red? Okay, these are your IDs, okay? Notice it's red right here. That's what I'm getting at. I thought the blue, no, sorry, I thought we highlighted the PII, but we're not. But anyway, you get the concept. So what you do is you'd pick your PII, and then you would use this data painter to actually regenerate the data. So we're going to see that in action. We're going to save, and now we're done. So you're like, Tim, what do I do with this now? Well, the good news is this data is now in your data set. So if I look at people, oops, okay, it's here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and publish that to our target. Okay. Now, let's verify a couple things before we do that. Again, shame on me. I should be using TDM to be pulling this up, but we can do it real quick. So there is no people in our travel E. So now let's go down to our travel. Where's our travel? It's right here. Whoops. In table, we want people. Okay, and we definitely have people here. Now, what we don't want is these names in our database. Because this is production, that person exists, and we can't have that in test data. So let's go ahead and publish this. All right. And down here is our variable. So if I need to change the address, I can do that here. I'm hoping this not good practice to have spaces, so I'm hoping that this takes and it doesn't add that twice. So we'll see what happens when we do that. Now, this is going to take a little bit when I run it, so I may pause the video just for sake of time. But right now, we're going to say go. And what it's going to do, you brought me on dupes, what it's going to do is it's going to populate all these tables, and it's going to keep the relationship within those tables, even though we've changed some of the data. I guess I can talk while it's running this just so you can see it, but keep in mind what we did is we took a subset. Concept of subset is to take a small part of something large, right? So we have a large database. I took a small set. See, now it's done. Unless it's going to tell me there's dupes. And then we'll just have to verify it and continue. But with saying that, we have our subset of data. We took our subset data and we're able to pass in a variable that our developers could do to request this little blob of data. And a blob is a bad term because that actually is something. And then from there, we actually did the PII on the fly. So every time they request this data, it's going to be a different username. It's going to be something different. Yeah, see, so do you wish to ignore, what is our, oh, okay, so we've got these ticket IDs and stuff. Departure, you know what, this is just for demo, so I'm just going to say, yeah, ignore all rows that have duplicates, that's fine. Same for there, probably should just ignore table, but that's fine. We've already on a row now, we're at 63%. There we go, cool, so now we're done. Now I can open up the log, or we can do this. So what we want to do is go over here and verify what actually happened. Execute. Look at that. Now we have data. We have 410 roles. They all have unknown addresses at the time. So our developer came in here and said, hey, you know what? I need this data where these users do not have addresses. Well, that's fair, but what about the PII part? Did that work? Well, let's find out, you say. So what we want to do, first of all, number one is amber null. Over here, I don't even have a number one. Oh, maybe I do. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's in the hundreds. But what we want to do is, I grabbed a name. What did I grab? First name? First name. Okay. So we grab Kathleen. So let's see if where first name equals Kathleen. No, she's not there. Sweet. All right, so let's do it in reverse. So we don't have production data in our testing, but let's see if we have Mr. Matthew here, over here. Oops, if I can type here. All right. Nope, we do not. So we do not have test data in our production data, and we don't have production data in our test data. And our production data, our test data, does not have data we didn't want. So ew, I don't know if it'd accept that. Let's take care of it this way. All right, I don't think it would have mattered, but just to be safe. And no, we do not have. So we could even do a count on how many equal this. So we got 410. I can't guarantee they all came over because there are settings I should have shown you in subsetting where I could say only bring back a certain amount of data. But kicks and giggles, why not? I can just say execute down here in the right-hand corner, 410. And over here in our test data, we have 410. So there you go. So we took a blob of data, made a subset out of it, put a query in it so our end users could actually query their own data, which is very important. Because I could go back and run this again and say, give me where address equals something different, right? Atlanta, Georgia, whatever. And the variable doesn't have to be an address. That just made it easy because I noticed all this was here. It could be in email extensions, whatever, right? But with saying that, we were able to modify the PII data inside the subsetting script. So whenever the subset now fires off, we can actually prove that. I'll take Matthew here, and then I'll let you go because this video is getting kind of long. And we're going to say go. And yes, prompt for dupes. And this time we'll just skip those tables because we don't care. We're only proving a concept here. And it'll show up in a few seconds saying, hey, you've got dupes. What do you want to do? But with seeing that, this little piece is very powerful to the fact that we did this on the fly, right? this is one way to get rid of your PII. The good and the bad and the ugly about TDM is there's more than one way to do it. And I'm going to do videos for each way, hopefully. The other way is the fast data maker, which is the way I prefer. Then you also have what's called transformation maps. Then we also have the portal, which is another completely different topic video. All right, so there we go. So we're going to say ignore all tables. Now we're going to say escape these tables. There we go. Because I don't want to ignore my people table. Okay. Now the truth is, I probably would have started with a clean slate because now I will. You know what? Holy smokes, Batman. That would not have worked because I have dupes everywhere. But what I was hoping to show, I'd have to delete out the table and rerun it. But what I was going to show is that this Matthew would not be Matthew again. It would be in a totally different name because of the way the data painter is working inside GT Data Maker. So with saying that, I hope this was useful. And if you look, just to put the hammer on the nail, I think is the proper term. And if I go to people, I can see that I have my formula, and that formula will change every time. Oops, not that one, the seed list. The one beside it, this one right here, first name. All right, so anyway, so that's it. That's how that kind of works. I hope this was useful, and make sure you watch the other videos to see how to do the other PII. More importantly, I wanted to show how subsetting worked here. And keep in mind, the subsetting tool is very powerful. I did a very simple example. Just keep that in mind. Hope this helps.